Hey guys, the biggest asshole in the Assassin's Creed community here today, and welcome back to another video on Assassin's Creed. So today, I want to talk about my personal opinions on things that Assassin's Creed as a series has done badly in the past, and kind of more towards recent games. Remember guys, this is my personal opinion. If you guys like these games, then you are perfectly entitled to that, because I'm going to be talking kind of about the newer games, Syndicate, Unity, and more, like 3 kind of games like that aren't the best. But if you guys like those games, feel free to, I don't know, say that you love Assassin's Creed 3, I don't know, but if you guys are perfectly entitled to like these games, this is my personal opinion on what Assassin's Creed has done badly, and just how they could improve on certain things they've done in the past, especially in the last 2 games, Assassin's Creed Unity and Syndicate. So let's get straight into this fucking video, guys. So as you guys know, no game series is fucking perfect. I'm not bashing Assassin's Creed, I'm not saying it's a shit game series, because it is one of my favourite game franchises of all time, hence why I have a channel based around it. I love Assassin's Creed to pieces. But it has obviously done some things that aren't the best in the past, and there have been some bad games in the series, in my personal opinion. I mean, one of the huge problems with the recent Assassin's Creed games is like just the story and how forgettable the characters are. So Assassin's Creed Unity's story, it could have been so good. They could have done something so fucking amazing with revolutionary France and Paris. It could have been so fucking good, and they had such a good opportunity with the setting that they were in, but they chose to make it just slightly odd and convoluted at times. Like, Assassin's Creed Unity's story was, all in the end, quite pointless, because Bishop tells you that there's no evidence of, there's no DNA left for the sage anymore, so this sage is pointless and they'll never find him, and it's like, yeah, that means there's no point in me playing? What? Did you just make me play a pointless game? I don't quite understand. But it's the same with Syndicate, really. Syndicate's story as a whole was kind of just focused on Jacob being very reckless and Evie fixing his mistakes, and then Evie being obsessed with the Shroud. And then in the end, they leave the Shroud in the temple they found it in. So they kill Crawford Starrick at the end, and then they fucking leave the Shroud in the fucking temple they left it in. And I have no idea why, considering Evie was spending the whole game trying to look for the Shroud. She just goes, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there now. I'm just gonna leave it there. I found it. I spent the whole game looking for it. I'm just gonna leave it where I found it, where other Templars in the future could possibly find it, which they do. But Assassin's Creed Unity's and Syndicate stories haven't been all that interesting, in my opinion. Unity's story was incredibly convoluted, as I said. There was a lot of things that were wrong with it, and there were a lot of mistakes during the writing of the story. There were parts of Unity that Alex Amancio wrote because he took it upon himself to soil the game and ruin everything that was involved in Unity. I'm pretty sure Darby McDevitt wrote a lot of things in Unity, but a lot of them were cut out for some reason. I don't actually quite know why. And then Alex Amancio wrote parts himself, which I don't really understand why he shouldn't have been writing the game. Story is definitely a thing that the recent Assassin's Creed games have done kind of badly. Unity more so than Syndicate. Syndicate had an okay story, but then again, it was a really forgettable game in my opinion. There's nothing about the game that jumped out at me and just made me think, yeah, it's fucking amazing. But, you know, you guys may love Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and maybe your favourite. You may love Jacob and Evie and the setting, and you guys are perfectly entitled to that. Likewise, you may love Assassin's Creed Unity. Another problem I had with the recent Assassin's Creed games is the main characters. Now, not so much Unity, because I actually quite liked Arno. Now I've revisited the game and kind of thought about everything. But Jacob and Evie were incredibly forgettable characters in my opinion. I've got comments of people saying, I love Jacob and Evie, they're my favourite. But they're incredibly forgettable. If there was one main character in Syndicate, then maybe I would have remembered them and just been like, yeah, I like that character. But because Ubisoft decided to add 2 main characters that you can play as, it makes me feel less connected to them, because you're playing as 2, so it's like, you've got Evie and you've got Jacob, and it's like, which one do you like? It's just better if you have one main character that you can get invested in and play as. I prefer Arno to a lot of the other assassins, because you play as him and not random other characters, and he's actually a pretty decent character, did a lot for the Brotherhood, and he was quite a charismatic character during Assassin's Creed Unity. He did kind of fizzle out a bit towards like the middle to end of the game, but overall he was a pretty decent character, whereas Jacob and Evie were pretty forgettable. Like, they would, by forgettable I just mean I didn't feel connected to them because there was 2 of them and they had their separate sides of the story, where Jacob would just kind of go around being immature, and then there would be Evie that would go around being obsessed with the piece of Eden, and it was just, they were incredibly forgettable. Now, I think the fact that I don't like Jacob and Evie and that Arno is an alright character but he's not one of my favourites is simply because we didn't have enough time with them. The reason why I love Ezio so much is because we had 3 games with him, so they had enough time. They had years to develop Ezio's character, which is what Assassin's Creed needs. It needs games with the same character in it, because then you can follow this character's story and get attached to him over the years. That's why I love Ezio so much. And Altair was also an incredibly great character because he was mentioned in all the games and was actually in Assassin's Creed Revelations. So Altair kind of works with Ezio because he's mentioned in all of the Assassin's Creed games from 2 to Brotherhood, and then obviously had his own game in Assassin's Creed 1. And it's just, we need another game that has, like, we need another trilogy, like the Ezio trilogy, when the next Assassin's Creed game, when Empire comes out, we need like 3 games with the same character, same ancestor in it, so we can get invested in this character and be like, yeah, we've got this character again, it's going to be fucking awesome, we're going to carry on their adventure, instead of just having 1 game with 1 assassin, where you just kind of don't feel awfully connected to the character, and you just forget them after when the next game comes out. I think one of the reasons Edward was so good is because he links to Assassin's Creed 3. Now, Assassin's Creed 3 wasn't the best game in my opinion, but when you play as a character that was briefly mentioned in that game, you kind of like, oh yeah, it's good, and then you're already kind of invested in them because you know of their existence in the universe. That's why I love Edward as a character. That's why I loved him straight off, because he was mentioned in the Assassin's Creed universe already, and I already knew of his existence. Also, Edward was just a fucking great character in general. I don't know how they made him so good. It might have been his interaction with other characters, because Assassin's Creed 4 has some of the best characters in Assassin's Creed in there. So it might have been Edward's interaction with those characters that made me love him so much, and the reason why he didn't have multiple games. But I think he could have been like my second favourite assassin if he would have had just 1 more game showing his later life. That would have been fucking awesome. I've always wanted another game with Edward, but then we got Unity and Rogue instead, which, I don't know, it's just, I would have loved another game with Edward, because he did loads of exploring around the world after he left the West Indies and went back to London before he settled down, and he built the Brotherhood up, and he became this wise assassin that did a lot of good things for the Brotherhood. So it would have been awesome to see his development as an assassin in his later life, but I guess Ubisoft didn't want to do that. But I would have definitely loved Edward better. I would have loved him. He would have been like one of my favourite characters. He already is, but he would have been probably like my second favourite character if we would have had another game with him. One thing that Assassin's Creed has done badly in recent years is the modern day. Now, the modern day used to be something that I fucking loved in Assassin's Creed. I'd always be excited for the next modern day bit because it would let you progress with this character in the modern day. So it was Desmond, and I really liked Desmond's character when we were playing as him in Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. He kind of fizzled out towards the end of Assassin's Creed Revelations. In 3 he was quite boring, but it's understandable because he was in a stressful situation in which he had to basically save the fucking world. But the modern day bits were always really great for me because you just got invested in this modern day character, you see what they learnt from the Animus, and all of the stuff in the Animus felt more worthwhile with the modern day. Because the reason why they were searching for the ancestors' memories is to find a piece of Eden, or use the bleeding effect on Desmond, or do other things, and it felt worthwhile. So playing as Arno in Assassin's Creed Unity and playing as Jacob and Evie in Syndicate doesn't really feel awfully worthwhile to me, and it really doesn't affect that much in the modern day. I guess it leaded to the Shroud in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but in Assassin's Creed Unity, Bishop literally tells you at the end that what you've done is pointless. She doesn't say that, but she puts it in better words. She puts it in politer words. But basically, she says what you've done is pointless, and it's like, what's the point in playing this game then if through the whole thing there was literally no merit in what I'm doing? Which is why the modern day was so great, because you'd play through a sequence or 2 or 3, and then you'd get to come out in the Animus, and then like you'd be like, okay, we've learnt this, and then at the end of the game you'd go get a piece of Eden or something would climax in the modern day, and then you'd be like, what the fuck, and you'd be left on a huge cliffhanger. At the end of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, when Desmond kills Lucy, you'd be like, what the fuck happened there? And then you'd start Assassin's Creed Revelations, and you wouldn't find out what happened until later in the game, and the cliffhangers at the end of the modern day sections were always so good. They started even from Assassin's Creed 1, where you saw the writing on the wall, and they were great. So modern day has always been awesome, but recently in Assassin's Creed Unity and Syndicate, it hasn't been great. I mean, not even 4's and Rogue's modern day has been very good, because you don't play as a character that you can get invested in. That's what I want, which is why Desmond's son to be playable in Assassin's Creed Empire would be such an amazing thing, because we can get invested in that character again, and we can have him develop over the games, and it would just be fucking awesome. So you can have Desmond's son develop, and you can also have the Animus character develop as well. So you can have them developing simultaneously. Desmond's son will have the bleeding effect, obviously, and he will learn different skills that his ancestor did, and it will be fucking awesome. Maybe they can get it right this time and not kill off the main character. Hey, that sounds like a good idea. Don't kill off the main character, that was an awful idea. Yeah, ever since Desmond died in Assassin's Creed 3, the modern day has been declining slowly until there's not even a playable modern day anymore. It's just cutscenes where you watch Rebecca and Sean jumping around, and the reason why Rebecca and Sean were so great is because of their interaction with the character that you had in the modern day. You felt part of a team, that's why they were so good. But now you just kind of sit there watching them do things that would be cool to do with them as a character in the game. Something else I've noticed is, like where the fuck is Juno in the modern day recently? Okay, we've had a few things, like in Assassin's Creed 4 when you see her, but literally in Unity and Syndicate, she's not there at all. She may be in the World War I rift, but she literally doesn't do shit. She hasn't done anything since she was released in Assassin's Creed 3, and I have no fucking idea what's going on there. Is Ubisoft stalling the shit out of Juno's story? I have no idea. Like, where the fuck is Juno? Like, fair enough, she could be setting up her plans, trying to find an organic vessel for her to live in, but, and this is a big but, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 fucking years, and Juno's done absolutely nothing. I mean, it'll be 2017 by the next time the next Assassin's Creed game comes out, and if Juno doesn't do anything, I'm really going to question what the fuck she's actually doing in the modern day, and why we haven't heard an awful lot about her since Desmond let her out in Assassin's Creed 3. I genuinely have no idea. We need more First Civilization in the Assassin's Creed games. First Civ was awesome because it was like this fucking awesome, like, mysterious race, and you just want to know more about them. When as soon as they showed up in Assassin's Creed 2, when Ezio had that encounter with Minerva, you want to know more about them because they were all mysterious, and Assassin's Creed has also lost that as well, the mysteriousness surrounding the Isu and other things. Another thing I don't like about Unity and Syndicate is kind of the time period they're set in. We've had so many games in like 17th to 18th century, like 17th to 19th century, and it's getting very boring. Like, especially settings like Europe and America, like, it gets boring because of the colors. Like, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the brownest game you'll play in your entire life. Like, Paris was better than London, but it was also not the best city ever. Because cities like Rome is my favourite city in any Assassin's Creed game. You kind of, like, get used to it and remember what the different parts look like. With Unity, I just don't remember what the fuck any of that looks like. I wouldn't know my way around Paris, whereas I would for cities like Florence or parts of Rome or Venice. And it's just like, the cities haven't been all that interesting, the time period hasn't been all that interesting, and it gets boring seeing the same things over and over and over again, which is why if Empire set in Egypt, it could be fucking awesome, because it could breathe new life into the series with, like, different looking settings. Like, it'll be set in Africa, in fucking Egypt. There'll be so many different possibilities for different settings. And there's so many places Ubisoft could set it, but they just choose not to. So if Empire's set in Egypt, it'll be a huge breath of fresh air, because it'll be different architecture, different colours, different environments, because you have the different, like, you'll have the sandy places in the desert, and you'll also have the vegetated areas near the River Nile in Assassin's Creed Empire in Egypt. So it will be fucking awesome to see a place set in Egypt, and it would just breathe a new life into the series, in my opinion. And plus, it won't be set in a time period that's well documented in terms of history, because the Victorian era compared to ancient Egypt is a lot different, because we have more documentation from the Victorian era, and we don't have an awful lot of information about ancient Egypt, which is why it's better, because it's less documented by history, which means Ubisoft can play around with it a little bit more and kind of change stuff up and make their own kind of things, because they did say history is our playground, and recently they've been picking time periods that we know relatively a lot about, and they don't have an awful lot of opportunities to actually play around with the time period and the setting. So Unity's and Syndicate setting hasn't been the greatest, and they just need settings that are a lot further back in time and are a lot more exotic in terms of where the majority of the people that play Assassin's Creed live, America and, like, the UK. So I like to see things like feudal Japan, fucking ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, just all these different cool places that wouldn't be in a game usually, for them to just put them in that setting and time period. It'd be fucking awesome, because it's just different. It's a different setting other than 17th, 19th century Europe or America. It's just, those places have been completely outdone in Assassin's Creed now, and we need new exotic locations. So there's nothing left for me to talk about things that Assassin's Creed has done badly in the past and ways I think they can personally improve. Remember, this is my opinion. You guys may love the other Assassin's Creed games. You guys may absolutely fucking love them so much. But in my personal opinion, the Assassin's Creed games used to be so much better, and the recent games haven't been all that good, but they can definitely bring it back if they get everything right with Assassin's Creed Empire, and the series could be fucking amazing again like it used to. So be sure to like and subscribe for more Assassin's Creed content in the future, and comment down in the comment section below just your opinions on what I've said in this video, and other things Assassin's Creed has done badly and how they could improve on things in the series in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.